Welcome back to the Neon Arcade. Today we have a brand new Cyberpunk 2077 news video. In today's video we'll be talking about new details on vehicle and weapon customization, just how many handcrafted details will be in Cyberpunk 2077's Night City, a festival CD Projekt Red has backed out of for a Cyberpunk 2077 related reason, acid rain and equipment for combating Night City's elements, as well as some potential trouble for consoles based on new censorship rules when it comes to sexuality in games. Before we get into it, the official Cyberpunk 2077 page tweeted for the first time in a while, and whilst it wasn't anything substantial, we did get hit with a pretty insane Jackie Wells cosplay by a fan. CD Projekt Red has stated that they're opening up their Twitter to start retweeting worthy pieces of fan art, so if you are so inclined at creating anything of the sort, try your luck by tweeting out your designs to the official page at Cyberpunk Game. Next we have some brand new vehicle and weapon customization details via a French publication who sat down with a CD Projekt Red employee to get the scoop on Cyberpunk 2077 and the world of Night City. In this interview with Pietras, which was further translated by Rolls and Friends on the Cyberpunk 2077 Discord, it was mentioned by Pietras that every time you see a vehicle in the game, it will be possible for you to take control and you can start the fight from there. It's typically things players find cool to do. Although I can't give you details about current vehicles in the game, customization of cars are in the game. Now, vehicle customization is an incredible thing for Cyberpunk 2077, but the first part is kind of vague. Does this actually mean we can control flying cars to a certain degree after they've said that flying cars won't be controllable? Does this mean we can sit in the cabin of a tank and pop off some shells, or can we also drive it around town? Now, Pietras also mentions two other details. He states that in relation to the source material of the pen and paper RPG game Cyberpunk 2020, that they were nervous about deviating too much from Mike Pondsmith's original vision. He says, to be honest, we were afraid of putting too much of us in the game and that personal touch would overshadow the original board game. For example, during the creation of the character, you'll have elements to customize and choose from, including the look, physical skills, which hand you hold your weapon in, and more. We took the elements from the board game and extrapolated them for Cyberpunk 2077. This is good news for old school Cyberpunk 2020 players who want Cyberpunk 2077 to be as true to its roots as possible. Obviously, it's a different medium altogether, but the mechanics are more transferable and apparent when your source material is a pen and paper RPG versus a book or a movie. This is also good news for lefties and people who like to customize their shooting experience. Being able to choose which hand you hold your weapon in as a customizable feature is definitely something Luke, former Counter-Strike professional, has helped with. If you guys are unaware, he's on board with the CD Projekt Red team to help with testing the feel of the gunplay and to offer suggestions. Now worry not, this doesn't mean the game will play like CSGO, it's purely to have someone there who knows their stuff about gunplay and its mechanics. Pietras also mentions in this interview that the only animals in Night City will be dogs and cats, and you can interact with most NPCs. We see a cat outside the Ripper Dog Clinic during the gameplay demo, and in E3 and Gamescom demos you could potentially shoot at it, but we've seen nothing else in that department. Seems kinda weird to me that we won't be seeing birds either, but maybe pollution has killed them off or something of that sort. In regards to interacting with all NPCs, this might be something that's very similar to The Witcher 3. You walk by an NPC and they say a blurb or two to you about something going on in their lives, and then they mosey along on their way. If it is something more immersive than that, this could be something revolutionary, and interacting with the people of the world with an increased dialogue system could be a huge storytelling feat. As a final point from this article, it was noted by Sardukar from again the Cyberpunk 2077 Discord that Pietras mentioned how V would undergo issues and choices stemming from a Cornelian Dilemma. A Cornelian Dilemma, according to Wikipedia, is a dilemma in which someone is obliged to choose between two courses of action, either of which will have detrimental effects on themselves or someone near them. The best example from Wikipedia was a choice Batman had to make in the movie The Dark Knight at the hands of the Joker. He could either save his lover Rachel, or the future of anti-corruption in Gotham City, Harvey Dent. He chooses to save Rachel, but again in another twist, he's led to Harvey through the manipulation of the Joker, and Rachel ends up dying. This has the potential in Cyberpunk 2077 to lead to emotional narrative-driven decisions. I love this philosophy, and I think it only makes sense that the decisions we're making in the dark and treacherous future of 2077 will be Cornelian in nature. Next we have information regarding the development of Cyberpunk 2077 and how CD Projekt Red has built the future Californian dystopia of Night City. In an interview again with Pietras, it was mentioned by him that the game will allow you to enter many buildings, knowing that everything was done by hand because we believe that quality comes first through manual creation. Nothing is procedural in the world. Now in computing, procedural generation is a method of creating assets using an algorithm versus doing it manually and by hand. This will give the world a touch of detail that will make it feel more authentic and lively. Now there is a contrast between this interview and what CD Projekt Red has stated in the past. This interview seems like almost everything in the world is manually created, or at the very least everything inside buildings is handmade. Going back, however, we've heard interviews stating most things are done by hand, not all. In my opinion, I think everything within mega buildings will be handcrafted, and most of the outside world will be handcrafted as well, but as you step onto the streets, there will inevitably be some more procedural content. If you want a TLDR version, there's going to be a lot of handcrafted elements to CD Projekt Red's new title. Next, we have interesting little details via a countdown to the Dark Future post. As you know, these are posted by Artal Sorian Games to help us learn the lore and history of Cyberpunk 2020 and 2013, which are the source materials for Cyberpunk 2077. In episode 9 regarding Night City, it's mentioned that when visiting Night City, you should wear medium weight clothing with a light armor jacket or a ballistic cloth overcoat. A filter mask and supplemental oxygen are highly recommended due to acid rain and inversion smogs. As we know, acid rain and dynamic weather will play a part in Cyberpunk 2077, and we even see this guy walking through a bazaar with a smog or acid rain mask of his own. This is another potential equipment option which may boost your personal stats. Acid rain and detrimental weather could play out similarly to toxic gas from The Witcher 3. In episode 12, childcare agencies are mentioned in Night City. Now we've had some questions to if kids are present in the world of Cyberpunk, and I'm assuming so since we see one in the E3 trailer and the fact that they're in the lore. Child Creche is one of these agencies that actually plug kids into brain dance chips of their parents' choice for pacification purposes. Seems a little extreme to me, as brain dances are debilitatingly addictive VR experiences on steroids. Now this could be a big reason as to why people are so addicted to tech in the future. At a young age, your mind is malleable, and this is the Cyberpunk equivalent of seeing young kids and toddlers today staring at their iPads all day. It just can't be good for their brains. Next up, we have potential problems for consoles, specifically PlayStation, with new censorship laws from Sony. These new policies will affect game releases in both the West and Japan in an attempt to meet new global standards, and will target sexual themes in games. As we know, Cyberpunk 2077 is an overtly sexualized game with prostitutes, red light districts, and full frontal nudity. With these new rules and regulations for sexual content in games becoming much more strict, their releases will also be held to this new standard. For example, a game called Senran Kagura, where players could interact with other characters using something called Intimacy Mode, caused it to be delayed. Another title, Omega Labyrinth Z, was cancelled entirely. Now this could be telling for 2077 in either being delayed or heavily censored. Ironic due to how the whole genre of cyberpunk pokes fun at censorship with its overtly anti-censorship themes. I'm not sure how this will play into the release of Cyberpunk 2077, but CD Projekt Red might have to jump through some loopholes here with consoles, especially PlayStation. I hope this isn't the case, and I think the best approach would to obviously be not censoring anything and have 2077 be fluid and quote-unquote the same game across all platforms. Next, we have news of a CD Projekt Red festival and its relationship to Cyberpunk 2077. Promised Lands 2019, whose main organizer is CD Projekt Red, has been put on hold to focus on development of CDPR's titles. In a statement, it was said, "What we need now is undivided attention and full focus on our current developmental projects. We think quality is the most important aspect of creation, and that extends to everything we do. Without time and necessary attention to detail, we can't guarantee quality." This is good news for Cyberpunk 2077 fans, as this means they're taking the developmental process as seriously as ever before, and I think the final product will be a reflection of this. Next, we have some homework that the CD Projekt Red team had to do before starting development. According to a COG Connected article, the team received a list of works to study in the cyberpunk genre, including Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, and Neuromancer. These are largely touted as the fathers of modern cyberpunk. With their acumen for telling compelling stories in their games, they took this very seriously, and it was made easier by the fact that much of the team was enthused by the genre to begin with. This seems like an obvious pre-developmental process, studying the biggest cyberpunk works of the past, but it's nice to see just how seriously they took this with learning the works inside out. Thanks for watching, guys, and for everything and anything Cyberpunk 2077, subscribe to the Neon Arcade.